High in the mountains of 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 province stood an abandoned Buddhist monastery. Its wooden gates were rotting, the statues of guardians broken and weathered by time. Locals avoided the path that led to it, whispering that monks who once lived there had not died peacefully. The monastery was said to be cursed. Long ago, during the late 1970s, a plague swept through the village. Dozens died within weeks, and the desperate villagers begged the monks to perform rituals to cleanse the land. The head monk, Master 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥, locked himself and his disciples inside the monastery for 7 days of non-stop chanting and offerings. But when the gates opened again, the monks were all dead. Their bodies sat in neat rows, still in meditation poses, eyes wide open, faces frozen in silent screams. Some said they had sacrificed themselves. Others whispered they had summoned something too powerful to control. From then on, the monastery became known as the Crying Temple, because, at night, villagers swore they could hear voices chanting from within, mixed with the sound of weeping. In 2010, a theology student named 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 decided to write her thesis on Korean exorcism rituals. When she heard about the Crying Monastery, she was determined to see it for herself. Against her professor's advice, she gathered two friends, 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥, a skeptic, and 𝗗𝗥, a photographer, and traveled to the mountains. The villagers warned them not to stay past sunset. "If you hear chanting, cover your ears," an old man said, his voice trembling. "Once the monks' voices enter your head, they never leave." 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 ignored the warnings. She wanted proof. The trio hiked up the narrow path, reaching the monastery by late afternoon. The structure loomed against the gray sky, its wooden pillars cracked, prayer flags torn and faded. The courtyard was overgrown with weeds. A massive Buddha statue sat at the center, its face broken in half, leaving only a hollow-eyed stare. Inside, the halls smelled of dust and rot. Wooden floors creaked with every step. The prayer room was filled with rows of decaying mats, as if the monks had only just risen from them. On the walls, faint traces of red ink remained protective sutras, though many were smeared as if by handprints. "This is incredible," 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗏 whispered, writing notes feverishly. 𝗗𝗥 snapped photos of everything, while 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠 rolled his eyes. "It's just an old building. People love to invent ghost stories." But as the sun dipped behind the mountains, the air changed. The temperature dropped, and a sound echoed faintly through the halls. It was chanting low, rhythmic, and endless. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𗏘𝗥, "Do you hear that?" 𝗗𝗥's camera clicked. "It's coming from the main hall." They followed the sound, their footsteps echoing. The chanting grew louder, more layered, hundreds of voices overlapping. When they reached the main hall, the doors were already open. Inside, dozens of monk statues sat in meditation. But as the students entered, the chanting stopped abruptly. Then, one of the statues turned its head. 𝗗𝗥 gasped, dropping his camera. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗏 stumbled back, his bravado gone. "What the hell, did you see that?" The statue's stone lips began to move. Its voice was hoarse, broken. "You should not be here." The other statues joined in, their heads twitching unnaturally. "Leave this place. Leave before he wakes." The air thickened, pressing down on their chests. The students staggered, struggling to breathe. The Buddha statue at the center of the hall trembled, cracks spreading across its stone surface. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗏 whispered, terrified, "Who is he?" The statues all turned toward the broken Buddha. Their voices spoke in unison, "The one we could not bind." The statue shattered. From the rubble, a figure rose all thin, wrapped in the tattered robes of a monk. But its face was wrong. Its eyes were nothing but burning hollows, its mouth stretched wide in a permanent scream. Its body twisted as if bound by invisible chains. The chanting erupted again, deafening now, but the sound wasn't protective. It was desperate. The monks' spirits were still chanting, trying to contain the thing that had escaped. 𝗗𝗥 screamed and ran for the door, but it slammed shut. He pounded on it helplessly, before being yanked backward by an invisible force. His body lifted into the air, then snapped like a puppet with broken strings. His camera fell, still recording. 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗟𝗔𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗥 dragged 𝗗𝗜𝗠 toward a side corridor, the chanting chasing them. The walls shook, prayer scrolls unraveling on their own. Shadows crawled across the floor like living things. They stumbled into a smaller chamber, where dozens of skeletons sat in rows amongst real bodies, preserved by time. Their hollow eye sockets seemed to watch the intruders. On the floor, in faded ink, was a ritual circle. 𝗗𝗜𝗠 realized the truth. The monks had sealed the demon here, sacrificing themselves to keep it bound. But their sacrifice had weakened over the decades. The chanting outside grew louder, closer. The shadowy monk figure appeared in the doorway, its hollow eyes fixed on them. 𝗗𝗜𝗠 dropped to her knees, frantically tracing the faded circle with her fingers, trying to restore the symbols. Her voice cracked as she began chanting prayers she had studied in books, desperate to continue what the monks had started. The demon shrieked, its screams splitting the air like thunder. The walls cracked, dust falling from the ceiling. 𝗗𝗜𝗦 covered his ears, blood dripping from them. 𝗗𝗜𝗠, it's not working. The skeletons around them began to move. Their jaws opened, voices joining hers, chanting in unison. For a moment, the circle glowed faintly. The demon staggered, its form flickering. But 𝗗𝗜𝗠 wasn't strong enough. The circle was incomplete. The demon surged forward, slamming 𝗗𝗜𝗦 against the wall. His body went limp, eyes staring blankly as black veins spread across his skin. With a final breath, he whispered, "Run." 𝗗𝗜𝗠 screamed but didn't stop chanting. The skeletons' voices grew louder, filling the room, until the air itself vibrated. The demon howled in fury, its body tearing apart in fragments of shadow and fire. Then silence. The circle stopped glowing. The skeletons slumped, lifeless once more. The monastery was still. When 𝗗𝗜𝗠 opened her eyes, she was alone. Juan and Taiyang were gone. Only her notebook remained beside her, its last page filled with words she didn't remember writing. "We are not gone. We are inside her now." Weeks later, hikers found 𝗗𝗜𝗠 wandering the mountains, her clothes torn, her eyes hollow. She muttered endlessly, her lips cracked and bleeding, repeating the monk's chant under her breath. When doctors tried to sedate her, she screamed in a voice that wasn't hers. At night, patients in the psychiatric ward swore they could hear chanting coming from her room. Not one voice, but dozens. The same voices that once cried inside the monastery.